So the date of birth I was given, the first date of birth was the 13th of February 1992. So the 13th of the 2nd, 1992. And how we calculate that is by adding each individual number of the birth date. So 1 plus 3 plus 2 plus 1 plus 9 plus 9 plus 2 equals 27. And then we reduce that down to one digit. So 2 plus 7 is 9. So we get a life path 9. And I'm going to tell you all about what that life path means in a minute. But your life path number is so important. It's the most important number in your numerology chart. Because it cannot change, okay? And it tells you your strengths and weaknesses. It tells you who you really are. And it tells you some of the lessons that you're here to learn in this life. And also what your purpose is, which is really key. And that's really important in the work that I do in helping people to find their purpose and fulfillment. So numerology is such a great tool to use with my clients. So if your life path, you know, those of you, if you want to calculate your own life path, I've just shown you how to do it. So if you're a 9, which I'm going to describe in a minute, if your life path number characteristics don't ring true for you, there could be 3 reasons why this could be. The first one is sometimes, until we get a little bit older, we don't see ourselves necessarily as clearly as we could. Sometimes we need to be a little bit further down that sort of self-development journey to be really clear on who we are. Okay, so that's the first reason. The second reason is that we have 4 other core numbers which can be modifiers to our life path number. Okay, so although they're not as important as our life path number, they can be modifiers to that number. So it could be that you have some contrasting numbers in your other 4 core numbers. The third reason is human conditioning, basically, and social conditioning. So we can sometimes become we can really buy into the version of ourselves that other people tell us we are or tell us we should be, that we kind of adopt that identity. And so when we're faced with the characteristics of who we truly are, we don't even really recognize that. So I would say, if that's the case, really look back to when you were a young child, possibly, before too much sort of human conditioning kicked in, and see if you recognize any of the characteristics for yourself back then. Your life path number is who you truly are. And the more aligned you are with your life path number, the more you embrace that number, the happier you will be, the more fulfilled you will be. If you do not align yourself with your life path number, you'll always feel like there's just something missing. The life path number 9 is the number of completion. So in numerology, we use the numbers 1 to 9, other than some master numbers. So the 9 is a really strong vibration, a high vibration, and a strong number because it carries the characteristics of all the other numbers. You guys are old souls. You've been here many times before, and you come to this world, to this life, with a lot of inherent wisdom and knowledge. Okay, you are the children that people always kind of felt were an old soul, wise beyond your years. You are the humanitarians. 9 is a humanitarian number. You're the most evolved number in numerology. Okay, so, and that's kind of what it is not just kind of, it is what our souls came here to do, right? Is to evolve and grow. It's really important for 9s to live on the positive side of their number. I mean, it's important for all life path numbers to live on the positive side of their number, because there is a positive and a negative side to every number. And one of the beauties of finding out your life path number is that you can be very clear on what your strengths and weaknesses are, and you can err towards your strengths and away from your weaknesses. And when the 9 life path is living on the positive side of your number, you bring a incredible light to the world. Okay, you are a massive source of light in this world. You are humanitarians. You are empathic. You are natural leaders. Okay, you are inspirational. People look to you, and ironically, you don't even realize that people look to you. You're just sort of doing your thing, but people do look to you, and people are inspired by you. It's important for 9 life paths to have a strong spiritual base. And by that, I don't necessarily mean religious. You know, it can be religious if that's your thing, but it doesn't have to be. As long as you have some kind of spiritual, strong spiritual belief system, you do your best work with that kind of base. You guys are determined and selfless. You know, when you believe in something, you will go for it, hammer and tongs, and you will not stop until you see it through, which is an amazing trait. The downside of that is that if it doesn't come to fruition, if you feel like you failed, you take it incredibly hard, okay? And because of your humanitarian side, many of your goals in life are to do with other people and helping other people. And so when you perceive that you have failed, you kind of feel like you failed the world and not just yourself. And you can take that really, really hard. You can sometimes come across as condescending. Other people naturally feel like they need to compete with you. They can feel like you're being a bit of a know-it-all and a bit condescending. You're actually not, but people pick up subconsciously on that high vibration of yours, and people can sometimes naturally pick that up without you even trying. So it's really important as a life path 9 to do what you can to make other people feel at ease, so they don't feel like they have to compete with you, because you're not actually competing with them. You're just doing your thing, but you know, you just seem to carry most things off. So whether you know what you're doing or not, people follow you, and it just kind of seems to fall into place for you. It just kind of works. You guys can sometimes have some issues with your original family. Okay, I'm talking about parents, brothers, sisters. There can be some issues there which you find quite difficult to kind of let go of. You hang on to it a little bit. So when I say issues there, it could be to do with you know, feeling possibly that the parenting you received is not necessarily the parenting you would want to give your own children. It could be that you didn't feel as loved by someone in your original family as you would have liked. It could be any kind of issues like that. Having said that, your attachment is really, really strong to your original family. And actually, sometimes the 9 thrives best when they kind of go off on their own and live their own life and come away from that attachment a little bit to thrive and grow. You will probably feel when you have children that you want to be the perfect parent. You're not going to make the mistakes that your parents make, that all parents make. It's really important that you remember that there is no such thing as a perfect parent. You know, sometimes you're going to do things as a parent that you're going to feel wasn't quite good enough. And actually your kids are going to mess up sometimes, you know. It's inevitable. It's what happens. We're here to learn from them, and they're here to learn from us. So it's really important to remember not to be too hard on yourself, okay, if you feel like you're not that perfect parent, because trust me when I tell you, none of us are, okay, and you will be doing the best that you possibly can. 9s, I said this before, you're very capable. You're extremely capable. But you guys aren't keen on interference from other people, particularly interference in your family. You're also not great at asking for help. You don't like asking for help. You are capable and you tend to be able to do most things yourself, but it wouldn't hurt you to ask for help once in a while. You also kind of feel like those closest to you should know what your needs are, should know what you want and what you need. Like if they loved you, they would know. But you're really hard to read. So just bear that in mind. Like the people around you aren't necessarily ignoring your wants and needs. It's just that, first of all, you're really hard to read. And second of all, you're not very good at making your needs known. You're not very good at asking for help. And you seem so capable all of the time. And you're always sort of around helping other people, that people can sometimes look at you and think, oh, they've got it all sorted. They don't need my help. So really learn to make your needs known. If you need a cuddle, if you need some support, ask for it. Don't expect people to read your mind. Allow yourself to be a little bit more vulnerable, like asking for help, but also vulnerable enough to explore that spiritual side and give yourself that strong spiritual base, because that is when your intuition will flow and become really strong, and these answers will just flow to you. Okay, sometimes you do need to learn to lighten up a little bit. You do take things very seriously. You take things very hard, possibly because you're so empathic. You know, you see injustices in the world that other people don't necessarily see. You feel those injustices really hard, even if they're nothing to do with you. You came here as an old soul. You came here with a heavy heart to this world and to this life, and a real healing capability in order to change the world. You guys can be the tortured artists of the world. You see injustices in the world that other people might not, and you see some ugliness in the world that other people might not. You see the dark side of life at times, and you create. You know, your creativity often comes from that dark place, and what you create is intended to change the world. But quite often what you might do is seek out those dark places, because you create so well from that place. So one of the lessons in life for you is to learn to create from the light. Okay, people like Mahatma Gandhi, Kurt Cobain, Jim Carrey, Bob Marley, Elvis Presley, these are all life path nines, incredibly creative people who came here and literally changed the world. Okay, their names will never be forgotten. One of your lessons is to not get stuck in that dark place where you create from, and to not always look towards the ugliness, but to look towards the light, because you are incredibly inspiring people. People follow you naturally. You don't even realize how people look to you and how inspiring people find you. You are so empathic, and you have such a healing energy about you that you probably attract animals to you. They're just naturally attracted to you, as well as people with some baggage, so we say. So people who need some healing will probably be automatically attracted to you. So make sure you make time for yourself and not just other people. Make sure that you take time to ensure you are, you know, engaging that spiritual side of you engaging in self-care and healing for yourself, and not just for everyone else. You know, that humanitarian energy that you have. So the lessons that you came here to learn was, first of all, to realize how inspiring, compassionate, and empathic and creative you are. And second of all, to, you know, ask for your needs, get your needs met by asking. You don't always have to be doing on your own. You don't always have to be so capable. You can show that vulnerable side. Another lesson is to let go of the past. Life path nines can live in their own head a little bit. You find it really hard to let things go. Okay, if something's happened to you in the past, you find it quite hard to move on from that and to let it go. So it would really help you, because, you know, you can have a little bit of a heavy heart sometimes. It would really help to lighten that load by living in the moment. You'll find yourself happiest when you concentrate on the here and now and what's in front of you, rather than living in the past. And finally, the last lesson is to create from the light. Seek out that light and not always the dark. But life path nines, you are incredible human beings. You are incredible souls that came here to change the world. And the world would be a much worse place without you.